Hello music producers and welcome to Sound Codex. In this first episode of a series entirely dedicated to the Surge XT, we're gonna be looking at its interface and how to move around the environment. Surge XT is a multi-timbral hybrid virtual synthesizer capable of doing and recreating a lot of great sounds. The interface is roughly divided into four main sections. We have the top header, where we can load patches by clicking on the patch browser. We can get access to a ton of great factory patches as well as third-party patches. They are hundreds, so take your time to play around with all these fantastic presets. If you find a patch that you like, you can add it to the favorites by clicking on this heart icon, and then inside the patch browser, the favorite folder will appear. Every patch in Surge XT is made of two scenes, scene A and scene B. By selecting its mode, we can define how we can play these scenes. So when set to single, we can play the selected scene. If we use a key split, we are going to split scene A and B across the keyboard, and inside this value box, we can define the split position. Same process for the channel split. This will split the two scenes across MIDI channels. Last but not least, we can play both scenes simultaneously, so that's why I defined Surge as a multi-timbral synthesizer. If you want to load Surge XT as a VST within your DAW, you'll get access to different output configurations. I'm using Reaper, and here I just need to click this in and out icon. And as you can see, we have the main stereo output, left and right channel. But then we have separate outputs for scene A, left and right, and scene B, allowing for great versatility and complex routings within your DAW. One more thing about the audio setup: if you right-click on Global Volume, you'll see Global Hard Clip. By default, it is set to plus 18 dB full scale. Make sure not to disable the internal hard clip, because if you want to experiment maybe using high feedbacks, delays, and a lot of processing, your sound might get very loud. Having the global hard clip enabled in your main output will save your loudspeakers or your ears, your headphones, whatever. Under the header, we have scene controls. This section can be divided into two sections that are sound generation and sound shaping. Inside sound generation, we have the oscillator section. We can have up to 3 voices per scene, so Surge can play up to 6 voices in total. Every oscillator type, or algorithm as the Surge team likes to call them, have specific controls. Like classic oscillators like the sawtooth or the square have these controls. But if we switch to modern, you can see that we have different controls. So these are not just waveforms, these are different algorithms. Inside the square, we have a very handy mixer that we can use to blend the signal coming from the 3 oscillators. We also can apply ring modulation, so we can multiply signal 1, voice 1 by signal 2, or voice 2 by voice 3. Last but not least, we have a noise generator. The distinction in Surge XT between scene and voice is pretty strong, so When we talk about voice, we're referring to the signal produced by an oscillator. While we talk about scene, we're defining the sum of all voices produced by all active oscillators. On top of the mixer, we can transpose the entire scene by octaves or using those semitones slider that can add portamento as well. On top of scene transposition, we have the bend depth, where we can define the pitch bend amount in semitones, and we can define the play mode. So Surge XT can be a polyphonic synth or a monophonic synth with a lot of play mode variations. Inside the sound shaping section, we have frequency modulation routing. We have a filter configuration. We can choose between different filter routings, and we can define how our signal is passing through filters and Wave Shaper. Inside Wave Shaper, we can load different functions from standard soft saturation to pretty crazy West Coast wave folding techniques. Surge XT comes with two filters, filter 1 and filter 2. We can choose between a huge variety of filters from low pass, 12 dB per octave, 24, legacy ladder, vintage ladder, diode ladder, a lot of great simulation of real filters, both for filter 1 and filter 2. And this section, the two envelope generators, one for the filter and one for the VCA or the amplification stage. These are standard ADSR envelopes that have a switch between digital and analog mode. This last mode emulates the curve behavior of real analog synthesizers.
Nice.
Moving to the bottom, we have the routing section. This is where we can route the LFO to any of the available controls. It looks intimidating, but trust me, it's very easy. Let's say that I want to link the LFO1 to the oscillator 1 pitch control. I can click LFO1, all available controls will turn green. Now I can select the pitch control and I can define an amount. I want my LFO to modulate pitch by a maximum amount of 3 semitones. The center position will be 0 semitones with a maximum value of plus minus 3 semitones. Now that I adjusted the pitch amount, I can click once again on LFO1 and I will exit edit mode. We have standard LFO shapes like sine, triangle, square, sawtooth, smooth random noise, or sample and hold noise, plus 4 different types. The first one is the ability to draw your own envelope that can cycle, so we can use envelope curves as LFO shapes. We also get access to a sequencer style LFO where we can define discrete values. We also have a multi-segment envelope generator that we can edit using this handy graph where we can move points around using our mouse and we can define the curve slope. Last but not least, you have a function generator. So if you know how to program using the Lua language, you can write your own functions for modulators. On the right side of Surge XT, we have the filter section. As we can see, we have filters for both scene A and scene B. With a double click, we can turn them on or off. Using a simple click, we can select the slot. Now we can move to this drop-down menu and select the filter we want to insert. And as you can see, we have a lot of high-quality effects, from reverbs to delays to tape emulations, and probably not a lot of people knows that There are quite famous effects in here, like the tape emulation by Cho DSP, or a bunch of effects by Air Windows. Not to mention the Nimbus, which is a granular effect which uses the same DSP used by the Eurorack module Clouds. And this was a quick overview of the Surge XT interface. Make sure to subscribe to my channel if you want to support my work, and I'll see you in the next video. Ciao ciao!